practice being generous. Probably the most demanding, subtle, continual practice. The most important. The Buddha stressed generosity. Generosity. We know we are a recipient of generosity. And there's a distinct feeling. The precept, do not be mean with dharma or wealth. Do not be parsimonious, closed. So we always, when we're looking at generosity, we rarely think about, well, what about stingy? What about stingy? And so I thought I would give it some consideration tonight. We can all reflect on that and how it manifests. We also know when we are the recipient of stinginess and when we are being stingy. It's a really interesting word. The etymology, it takes it back to the 16th century. So maybe as long as we've had a money economy in the way that we do, we've had the term stingy, had the concept stingy. So I'd like to scroll through this theme a bit to honor the precept to not be mean with dharma or wealth. There are so many ways to be generous, and I think there are so many ways to be stingy. And always when we work with precepts, it's our life. It's our lifelong practice. We can always reflect and be guided by these wonderful, wholesome recommendations and inspirations. We could say that there is no holding back or stinginess in the natural order. But we could also think about when things don't ripen. Because for whatever reason, usually having to do with a change of conditions. So what are the conditions that are at play when we don't ripen? When our hearts don't soften and ripen, become whole and juicy and generous, and benefit for the well-being of the whole living system. What are all the ways that we hold back? We have habits. For instance, you may be a stingy breather. Are you a stingy breather? Is that one of the issues at a sesshin? Because when we are natural in our breathing, we feel so alive. It's easily recognized how this profound sense of well-being when our breath is natural, unimpeded, suitable to the actual conditions. So the natural breath when sitting in zazen is different from the natural breath when riding our bike or climbing a hill. And our breath is freely given. It's freely given. And sometimes we hold it. And so really we don't receive it. So one of the images that we use a lot and is part of our meal chant is giver, receiver, and gift. It's very, very implicated in generosity. To offer and to receive are not two. It's not separate when we really start taking a closer look. The breath going out, coming in, coming into alignment, awareness and breath. That's the simple practice that we initiate in Zazen. And Zazen teaches us about all of our life. Going out of alignment, losing track, and getting caught in thought, fear thoughts, torture thoughts, bullying thoughts, tormenting thoughts. That's when we go out of alignment with the natural breath. And we learn from this. We notice the medicine of returning to just the breath. And that is true medicine, coming back just to breath. No matter what's going on. It may not cure conditions. Those aren't up to us a lot of the time. But it certainly puts us in our healthiest alignment to respond to any condition, all conditions, in the best way we can. So each breath saves our life, saves our true life. And breathing out and breathing in. If we don't thoroughly breathe out, then it's hard to take a nice, full, refreshing breath in. And if we're only breathing in, after a while, there's no room for the next breathing in. So this is a very fundamental pattern for a human being living a life. And so coming back to how do we hold back? How do we hold back from exhaling? How do we hold back from offering, from contributing? And physically, do you slump? It used to be, when I was little, the emphasis on good posture was really given everywhere. We don't hear so much about that anymore. But it's a good reminder, and it's certainly something that we hear when we are being taught about Zazen. A nice, balanced, well-supported, upright posture allows us to breathe naturally and comfortably. If you have asthma or COPD, you especially need to study the breath very closely. Not take it for granted. You can't take it for granted. And one habit that's really helpful with asthma is to use the entire breath apparatus, allowing the lungs to expand fully. So into the back, into the armpits, the clavicles, down almost to the belly. The belly helps. It's part of the whole apparatus for a full breath. But one aspect of asthma is lazy breathing. Lazy breathing. The body has forgotten to use its capacity, its full capacities. And this is part of stinginess. Forgetting to use our full capacity to offer instead of withholding. However, if you don't believe that you have anything to offer, if you don't believe that you have anything to offer, it follows that you don't offer anything. This is being chained to half-heartedness based on a mistaken idea that comes from not really having an intimate relationship with your full self. So getting to know ourselves and our capacities more fully helps to let go of this constricted, limited self. We discover what we have identified with and what we've excluded, what we've never noticed before or has never occurred to us for all kinds of reasons. But the motto of that way is, I can't. You don't mean to be stingy. I don't mean to be stingy. But it just may never occur to me that I have something to offer. So in this way, Zazen, this is one of the ways that Zazen functions so magically, really, so potently, is that we come to a much more intimate relationship with our own direct experience. How we see things, how we say I can't, or I won't. And this is all part of where generosity fits in how we be in the world, whether we offer and whether we receive, whether we recognize the gifts. So one of the things that follows when you say I won't is you can't make me. And that's good. That's good to see that. Who's speaking there? What voice is that? What function did it serve when you took it up and it became a habit? Because it made sense. Maybe there was an overpowering parent or teacher or older sibling. And so it was really a good move to say, you can't make me. It was laying claim to your own energy, your own life force. But then it ossified into a strategy for life which really is a big block to a fully lived, fully offered life. So I won't comes from rebellion, or it comes from, I don't have enough. There's not enough. Which can come about in a lot of different ways. But it certainly is hungry. There's not enough. It's a fearful feeling. It's not enough. It's good to recognize when this is up. We've all touched all of this. This is the basic the human condition. And speaking of not enough, stinginess and generosity can be really tied in with and mixed up with our experience of our relationship to time. So how does your habit of withholding or offering relate to your sense of time? Maybe it never feels like there's enough of it. So how does this precept of not being stingy help us explore the bullying pull of not enough time, which is reinforced by this violent busyness of modern life? The noise, the constant motion, and push forward. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. The hurry up of schedule. And I think of how it is for children who are super scheduled. School, activities, all kinds of recitals and all in the name of developing and encouraging and inspiring talents and gifts. It's good, but there's also this, so all that I'm talking about is there's a source early on for this feeling of hurry up, you gotta get to school. You can't be late for school. Hurry up, you can't be late at the office. And our days are extended by electricity, and our motion is amped up by car travel and media, and there's so much pressure to hurry up. There's a story about Swami Satchidananda, who went to carry, has everybody heard of Swami Satchidananda? He was a yogi, a master, a great master. So I'm being reminded that if you need to adjust your posture, please feel free to make yourself comfortable. Because I'm gonna go on and on. Swami Satchidananda was on his way to a talk or a retreat or something on an island in the San Juans, and they had to catch a ferry. So he was driving up there with a car full of his students, his followers, his devotees. And they had a ferry. It was the last ferry of the night, and everybody in the car was very anxious. Traffic was really backed up. It was a problem. If they missed the ferry, oh, it would just be a terrible thing. And so they were all very, very anxious, and he just sat there and said, "Oh, don't worry, don't worry." And what finally happened was they pulled onto the ferry, and then they were the last car on, and off they went. And that story is told because one of his great teachings was, take it easy. Don't worry. Everything's okay. If you don't catch the ferry, then you do something else, It's really a sense of, it's really tied in with it, this deep abiding sense that things work out one way or another, and you can have faith in yourself to cope adequately or wonderfully when things change and are not what you expect. So we can play a bit in relation to time. I was just reading, this is hard to believe, but I was just reading that the first clock was produced in the 14th century. And before then, it was very, very much based on daylight, seasonal patterns, seasonal rhythms. How many of you have, how many clocks? You know, mostly people are never without their phones, which is a clock. It's an alarm, it's a newspaper, it's a, on and on and on. Keeps us on our toes, huh? So it's hard to be leisurely. It's kind of anti-American to be leisurely. We're not given that opportunity until we get old. It's one of the wonderful things about getting old, is you can take your time. One of the oppressive things about being young is it's very hard to take your time. Take your time. So that brings me to the next thing about this, which is control. Part of stinginess is a consequence of the urge to assert control. Believing I'm in control. Because when I insist on believing I'm in control, I can really be stingy with my time, with my resources. And of course, we're not in control, but we are in control. We're neither not in control or completely in control, somewhere in the middle. Ever changing, often not discernible. Because most of it, all of the conditions that are acting on us are outside of our awareness. But we do our best to be responsible and responsive, including to develop a habit of generosity. That's something we can take on with intention and do our best with it. But we can't always be generous. And conditions are not always right for that. But when I want to be in control, and see, this is one of the challenges that comes up in the Zen practice too, and in Sesshin. And because we can be imprisoned by the commitment to being in control, and we're not in control. We're not in control of the bell. Ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell. I don't know if you've ever had that experience. Ring the bell. One of the most wonderful things about being the timekeeper is that you sit there and in your mind you're saying, ring the bell, ring the bell. Oh, wait a minute. I ring the bell. There's something about that gets at the human condition. There is a schedule. But another suffering that comes out of, this need to be in control, which limits our ability to be flexible and to be playful, really, is that we can come up with a lot of complaints. And we have to be completely in control, and that's our guiding star. It's a source of a lot of trouble. And a part of the delusion of the self being separate from the world is that it creates the space for this need to be in control. So I wanted to share a poem from somebody we all know. This is how it goes. Think they work you too hard. Think of poor Ali Sard. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard. And it's quick growing grass. And it grows as he mows it. The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it. And all that his stingy old uncle will pay for his shoving mower around all day in his hay is piffluous pay for two duplas a day. And Allie can't live on such piffluous pay. Recognize who that is? The great poet. Dr. Seuss. I'll read it again. Think they work you too hard. Think of poor Ali Sard. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard. And it's quick growing grass, and it grows as he mows it. The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it. And all that his stingy old uncle will pay for his shoving mower around all this hay is piffluous pay of two duplas a day. And Allie can't live on such piffluous pay. Now there's a complaint. None of us can live on such piffluous pay. So that really captures the hurry up and the pressure and that goes along with stinginess. So I was really hoping that I could just do some justice to the stinginess side of generosity. Because one of the things that's so helpful for me when learning about things is also to consider what we consider the opposite. Now, stinginess is not the opposite of generosity, but it certainly is a relation. It belongs in the family. We complain about what we're not getting, the stinginess of the old uncle of our ordinary life. We want more pleasing conditions, more suitable to our tastes. But the faster we go, the faster we don't get what we think we're looking for. So before we wake up to our true condition, this condition of being a human being with the ability, with the capacity to wake up to the real balances that are constantly flowing and fluxing between what we want, what we have, what we receive, what we give. We wake up to our true conditions. We can really wake up to savoring the generosity of our life. Even in all of the difficulties, there's a generosity there when we are open. Stingy is closed, generous is open. This generosity of life, there's always satisfaction. No matter what is offered, there's enough. We have these little bowls in Morioki, just enough. And walk away from dinner hungry. Dharma Master Dogen commented on this precept of do not be mean with Dharma or wealth. From the beginning, not one thing has been begrudged. That's a wonderful translation. One thing has been begrudged. Begrudged, that could be another kind of word that goes along with stingy. When everything is realized as practice, when we receive the generosity, the gifts that come our way, we wake up to the fullness and mutability of our life, the flexibility. When we're stingy, when the sensation of not enough predominates, we have to hold back. We feel like we have to hold back. And this is the pain of living in the faithless realm, feeling separated from all completeness, from the completeness that actually, when we shift our view, always right here. When we know that we're whole, we experience the joy of giving freely. And there's no end to the treasure. I just wanted to mention the choreographer, George Balanchine, once said to his dance troupe, "Why are you stingy with your bodies? Why are you holding back? Why are you saving? What are you saving for? For another time? There are no other times. There's only now, right now. Dance." So this dancing is continuous practice. It's another way of saying continuous practice. Relinquishing the habits of withholding that distract us from our true steps in this dance, that stop us from harmonizing with our very natural breath. These conditions, our life, no longer need to be caught up in a tight spirit of measuring or marking out how much we have, how much we need. Instead, we have access to this breath of eternity, continualness, inhaling, exhaling, appreciating, expressing, offering this treasure that is our life. So when we say, do not waste your time by night or day, we mean it. Enjoy it. Some of you are only here for 1 day or 2 days. Everything is right here. There's no limit. So please, let's go relax and stay open and come back to that. It's the trusting heart that this practice is a great gift and a great blessing. We receive the blessings whenever we put ourselves in the way of practice. And we all help each other all the time. May it be so.